Welcome back to the Big Picture Rumble. Here in the studio tonight, Jamie Weinstein, deputy editor of the Daily Caller, Erica Canuti, a Democratic strategist, and Seton Motley, president of lessgovernment.org. Let's get back to it, team. This week, Republicans in Congress failed in their attempts to stop Obamacare. But at the same time, a federal judge in Florida, using the legal opinion supplied by the Family Research Council, a known hate group, ruled that the entire law was unconstitutional. So now it looks like the ultimate fate of health reform will be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. So 5 unelected extremist Supreme Court justices, a few of whom themselves have committed crimes in office, are going to determine the fate of legislation passed by our elected representatives and supported by the majority of Americans. Isn't this a flaw in our democracy, Erica?
You know, I don't know that it's necessarily a flaw in our democracy. It may be a flaw in certain judges' legal reasoning, but I mean, this is the process. I mean, we appoint judges, and we have a confirmation process, and unfortunately, you know, those are the consequences of elections. I mean, the president gets to pick justices, and you know, President Bush picked a lot of very conservative justices. This is an extremely conservative court. Some of the most conservative justices in the last 100 years. There was a study that was done looking at all the justices back to 1927 and found that of the top 5 conservative justices, the 5 most over this time period, 4 of them are currently sitting on the court. But there's another interesting thing here is that there's been a lot of cases decided in favor of the law. 2, so we're now, again, Mississippi. I mean, there isn't necessarily this huge decision that this is going to be the one thing that stands and tears it down. I mean, this is going to go through the process. It's still being implemented, and as the Attorney General from Wisconsin found out, it is the law of the land, and you have to keep moving. But
Seton, where does it say it's the law of the land? Where in the Constitution does it give the Supreme Court the right to overturn rules?
Well, there are many.
In fact, Article 3, Section 2, Paragraph 2 specifically says that the Supreme Court shall run under rules established by the House of Representatives.
Yes, and they are. First of all, I want to say it's very disturbing that once again something this important is going to come down to what Anthony Kennedy has for breakfast that morning.
I don't disagree with you. That's my point.
But the point is, first of all, anybody that's moving forward on this healthcare law is in contempt of court of the Florida court.
No, he did not put a stay in place.
But the way, yes, he did.
No, he did. No. He explicitly said he was not putting a stay in place.
Absolutely not, and neither did the Virginia judge.
Let me stand up for this system for a second. This is what is great about America.
Exactly.
We have an independent judiciary who's going to rule whether this is constitutional or not, and it's going to go back to the Congress. We don't have a Mubarak saying, you can't do this, the judge has to be thrown in jail or for trying to rule like this. We don't have a Vladimir Putin overthrowing the
I'm
judiciary.
assuming, are you an attorney, Jamie?
I'm not, no.
Okay, well, I'm assuming that you all know that it wasn't until 1803 that the Marbury versus Madison that the Supreme Court acquired, and they took it for themselves, the power to rule a law unconstitutional. And Thomas Jefferson said, if this decision stands, the Constitution has become a thing of wax.
But where in the Constitution is the health care bill tethered? To what clause?
In the preamble. The general welfare, actually, the general welfare is mentioned twice.
The Constitution mentions a lawyer, it doesn't mention a doctor.
You can't have general welfare
you cannot enforce somebody to buy something. That's not in the Commerce Clause.
I get the impression that you're in favor of total democracy, like as in referendums for everything.
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm in favor of representative democracy. And I think Marbury versus Madison was wrongly decided, and we've been suffering that for 200 years.
If stare decisis means anything, I think a ruling that 200 years of ruling.
I'm not a fan necessarily of stare decisis, and neither is the current court. You know, they overturned the Tillman Act of 1907
God bless
with Citizens United. Talk about stare decisis.
So let's go back to what you said here about there being nothing that says that you can mandate that people buy something. There actually is something that says that you can regulate commerce, and health is commerce. It is an
But you have to put it in the context of when they wrote the Constitution. It was to prevent each state, if you were going from state to state to do commerce, that they could tax you at that point of sale, at the point of entry.
What's the question of commerce? If you can regulate someone for merely waking up and breathing, if you don't have health insurance and you're fine, then you can regulate anything. If you don't eat green
peas, as you absolutely are going to participate in the healthcare industry.
Jamie, you're asserting that none of us are ever going to die. that none of us are ever going to need
No,
help.
he's not.
If I'm asserting that I would be making that'd be a very hard argument for you to make. I don't think.
Well,
I'm
then
asserting
at
that.
some point in your life,
impossible
you are
argument.
going to walk into a doctor's office or a hospital where there's going to be tubes and drugs and things that are made in other states. You're going to be involved in interstate
Yes,
commerce.
You can't promise you're not
to
gonna
be
get hit by a
born-
car.
You're saying to be born, the government can say, if you're born, you have to buy this, or you're
It's
in
very
violation of the law.
imperialistic
That's
and it's
not
very
real.
unconstitutional.
My take on this is that the whole thing is unconstitutional, that the Supreme Court, they shouldn't go to the Supreme Court because they should not have that power. But I realize I'm a total anachronist on this. You know, I'm with Thomas Jefferson on this. In a Fortune magazine column, FedEx CEO Frederick Smith called on the government to get out of bed with big oil and start investing in new technology. He wrote, "We cannot continue down this path. There is, however, a solution that may become economically attractive sooner than most think. Cars and trucks powered by electricity." End of quote. Of course, this came on the heels of President Obama asking Congress to eliminate the oil subsidies in his State of the Union speech.
I'm asking Congress to eliminate the billions in taxpayer dollars we currently give to oil companies. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're doing just fine on their own.
So how long until CEOs like Frederick Smith reach critical mass to kick out big oil lobbyists and allow America to craft an energy policy that gets us off oil? Erica, you look like you have a thought on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think desperate times call for desperate measures. We have an energy problem in this country. We are using fossil fuels, which are not only outdated, but they are limited. They are going to run out. We cannot do this forever. And the idea that we're going to continue to subsidize an industry that, A, doesn't necessarily really have a viable future, but B, is incredibly well off and doesn't necessarily need the help is, you know, I think something worth definitely taking a
I
look
love
at.
two quotes from the 18th century.
First of all,
from the French Revolution.
First of all, there's a difference between a tax credit, which is letting them keep their own money, which is what we do with the oil companies, and handing checks over to tilting at windmills, which is totally ridiculous. We are not past fossil fuels. We are nowhere near fossil fuels. We are not past
won't
fossil
be
fuels.
unless
We're not
we do
talking about
something
fossil
about
fuels.
it.
No, but I
We're
don't
talking
want
about
the
the
government
oil
doing it.
industry. Jamie,
Look,
how does
I believe in the
oil
free
industry-
market, but you know what I'm excited about, Tom? There are actually people in the free market that are coming up with innovative solutions right now. You have just opened here in D.C. The Tesla motor car, which is very high, very expensive right now, but they're working to cut that in half and then cut that in half again with a new model.
And the Chinese are
and then
out
Shia Gassi in
in
Israel.
front of all of us.
These are very exciting times.
Anyhow, I don't think that the oil industry supports are going to be overturned until Citizens United is overturned. I just don't think there's political. Finally, our quick fire question. Yesterday, the gubernatorial quitter Sarah Palin declined an invitation to be the keynote speaker at the next week's CPAC convention. Palin claims February is a busy month for her, and she has to forego some of the opportunities in the lower 48. But we all know that's not the real reason Sarah declined to speak. So which is it? Why is Sarah skipping CPAC? Is it A, she wasn't offered enough cash? B, it's the start of aerial wolf hunting season in Alaska? Or C, she's avenging her daughter Bristol's loss on Dancing with the Stars last year and auditioning herself to be a contestant Seton?
D, she's never been there. She's not going again this year.
Don't you think that this might have something to do with all the people who are backing out because Go Proud is going to be there?
That could be it. That could conceivably be it. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I understand why they're doing it. I'm not opposed to them being there.
Erica?
You know, maybe it has something to do with the fact that she's not going to get enough money for them using her name now that she's trying to trademark it. I don't really know. I think that she often tends to kind of shy away from things that are going to be particularly difficult or put her in a position where she has to answer or deal with tough questions.
It's a great
CPAC?
platform. Jamie?
Who really wants to go to CPAC? I actually
I'll
don't.
be there.
I don't care.
I've been there for 6 years.
I don't so much care about the GOP Proud being there. I care about the John Birch Society being there. That's a reason not to go.
There you go.
My vote is D. She figured out who that massage therapist is in Anchorage that Todd's been getting it on with, and she's on the hunt. She's locking and loading. Anyhow, Jamie Weinstein, Erica Canuti, and Seton Motley, thank you all for being here tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.